I always wondered this because you guys are amazing MCs. I mean, damn, dude, you guys got classic albums. You guys have your fingerprints on so much of this West Coast shit that people don't even realize. It's insane. But was there ever a certain point in time where y'all got like 2 or 3 albums in where you were like, I know you guys went from the Alkaholiks to the Licks.
Right.
Were you guys regretted just going all in with the Alkaholiks thing?
I mean, you know, with a name like the Alkaholiks, first of all, we was a young group, kind of,
For sure,
and everything. So people misconstrued the word alcoholics with like the bum in the streets with the little, you know, the little $3 vodka and all this. You know, they took the name and we got boycotted. Not boycotted, but what do you call it? We got banned from a lot of shit. Like we had, we got invited to Soul Train, and then we showed up there and they saw the name and they was like, hold up, we can't put Alkaholiks on national TV and. Like we couldn't tour with Tribe Called Quest through the Bible Belt because of the name, and a lot of TV shows and shit turned it down because it was like, dude, we trying to get away from the negative word alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? But we spelled it different and told motherfuckers that we really anti-drinking and driving. We had a lot of positive shit to say too, but that get overlooked. You know? But
did you guys? I mean, obviously everyone should be against drinking and driving, but I can imagine once you guys start losing out on shit, it's like, okay.
Yeah, but see, that's what happened. That shit backfired too because when I don't know if it was somebody's idea was let's change the name since they call us the Licks. You know, it's the Licks, baby. It's the Licks. They call us that anyway. Let's change the name officially to the Alkaholiks. So we did that for one album, which was a disaster because nobody that really fucked with us on the alcohol. You know what I'm saying? With the fans.
That was XO Experience, right?
Yeah, XO Experience. We called ourselves the Licks, and it did not work because we got no more. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get shit else that we wasn't getting as the Alkaholiks. So
that was the last album on Loud.
I don't know. I get mixed up, man.
But that was the album that had the Pharrell single.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best You Can. Yep. Mm-hmm. And actually, it wasn't. That was the most selling single that we ever put out. It was the one with Pharrell.
No, that song was a vibe for sure.
Yeah. So
and that was like 01?
I don't be. I get lost with those.
I think it was around. I'm just trying to think in my head what year of school I was in.
Yeah, we've been over here. We got signed in '93, so a lot of the dates and times and shit like that, due to what I was, all this, I get mixed up because I know time periods like when we toured with Big, I know that was 96, 95 before he passed, right? And then it's kind of like I get things. I got all the memories in my head, but dates and time.
You gotta like work backwards to remember what day.
Yeah, I gotta remember a physical thing was happening right then to know what day and time it was. Though.
How did you, E Swift, and J-Ro initially meet back in the day?
Me and E Swift, we was already rocking as a group called Tash and Swift in the '80s, and E Swift met J-Ro through I don't know if it was Cousin Kev or we got a homeboy named Cousin Kev, and I think he brought J-Ro to the table. And we met J-Ro. That's where the King T's and the Mixed Master Spades, DJ Pools, and we started running with them. And it just turned into we was just part of the Tila wanted to do Tila is King T, by the way. He wanted to do like a posse thing. Like he had an album coming out, and that's why I always say we forever grateful to him, because instead of putting out his single as just King T and everything, he said, I got this group called the Alkaholiks and I want to put them on. So his first single on the Act the Fool album or the Trifling album, he featured the Alkaholiks, and really that's how we got our start. And never look back,
Never look back. What year was that? What year was the King T? Well, I guess you would have to do a lot of drunken scrambling.
Yeah, no, we started running. I remember we started running
90s?
with King T. The first time I really kicked it with him was the Act the Fool video shoot.
Okay.
At the liquor store, I'm in that motherfucker somewhere. It says, I gotta look back. But from that point on, and then E Swift got hired on a random. He was already DJing for me and J-Ro. Me and J-Ro had a demo, this and that. And King T had a DJ named Keep Cooley. I know you remember the name Keep Cooley.
Of course, yeah.
Shout out on the thing. And I don't know what happened with Keep Cooley, but the night before Tila was going on tour with NWA and Scarface, NWA and Ghetto Boys and all this, something happened with Keep Cooley where Tila needed a DJ, and Swift just happened to be over there cutting his hair, because Swift, he good on the cuts, but he better on the cuts. So he basically was cutting King T's hair. This is God's work and shit. Tila needed a DJ right then, so E Swift went to go cut King T's hair and came back with a DJing job.
Gig, yeah.
And he packed this shit up because I was living with Swift and his pops and shit at the time, and so he packed his shit up and went on the road with King T and never looked back. You know,
that is amazing. So when I was a kid, my best friend's name is Ramses. It's Rocka's little brother from Dilated.
I know them.
Yeah. So listen. So Ramses came to L.A. when he was 16, 17. I'm like 12.
So he's Jai brother too. Jai.
Yeah, like Bibby and Buddy and everybody.
Right,
so
Buddy.
yeah. So listen. So he comes back from L.A. and he's like, "Yo, my brother's in this rap because Rock's dad is Pope had a lot of children. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So he comes back from this trip to beat his brother and shit, and he's telling me, and he's like, "Bro, I was hanging out with the Exhibit and the Alkaholiks, and did one of y'all have an IROC?"
That was me.
Yeah, he's like,
I had to go there. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hearing all this shit, and at the time I'm like 12 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so that's when I got exposed to the Liquid Crew thing. You know what I'm saying? And then I met Rocka right when the platform dropped.
Right.
And then when the expansion team came out, we took a road trip out here, and we went to Fat Beats, and we went to the album release party, and it was just. But I got so I was entrenched in being a fan of y'all Exhibit, and obviously Dilated and all that shit,
Yeah,
and then. And yeah, so it's crazy because the Liquid Crew has so much to do with so much amazing parts of LA hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Between you guys, obviously King T, the Architect, and Defari, and I feel like Dilate is kind of quasi Liquid Crew.
Yeah, they I don't know if they used to claim Liquid Crew, but they used to be everywhere. That's family.
You open up that Focus Daily booklet, you see evidence in there with a lot of hair and Rockers in there. And,
yeah. I still keep it tuned with Ev all the time, and we working on something actually, but I'm just proud of them. You know what I'm saying? Because we all kind of started together,
right?
And I see where Ev went, where Rocker went, where the group went, with this and that, and it's amazing. I like to watch. It's like watching a plant grow. It takes some time, but as you see it, and I just think that Ev is underrated, man.
Oh my God, for sure. It's almost like he hates being like Evidence is such a talented guy. He would prefer to just make music and no one knew who the fuck he is.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, oh, that's what it is. He's like an introvert.
Introvert for sure.
And, but just talented. Shout out to Alchemist too.
Yeah, man. Shout out to
two of my favorite producers right now.
For sure. So, you guys, at what point in time? Because signing to Loud in 1993 is very, very, very early. That's pre Wu-Tang.
That's why everybody think we the first group, but technically we not though.
Who is?
Let me see. It was a group called Madcap.
Okay.
That dropped the album before we did, and then they signed Twister. And Twister wasn't happy with his contract, so he said, fuck this shit. He did his own thing. So we came right after that. So
no, that's crazy. 93, that's like ground floor Loud record shit.
Yeah, that's what I still talk to Steve and all them to Loud. It was a lot of Loud records in the house last night.
There was.
We were at last
Exhibit
night.
Was there, of course.
In case y'all know, we went to Exhibit's album release party last night. He was there. We was partying and shit.
Shout to X.